Hi everyone, this is Sira and you're watching Tech for Luddites. A lot of people watched our last video on thorium-based nuclear energy, and a lot of you joined the discussion as well. The comments fell into three categories. The first, saying that nuclear energy was awesome and that I was awesome for saying so. You know, the correct comment. The second, asserting that India wasn't capable of handling nuclear power and we'd just end up poisoning our air, land and water. And a third category seemed to be comprised entirely of a group who believed that CIA killed Homi Jahangir Bhabha. Really guys? But they were still my viewers and a lot of them were saying it, so I had to check. Though I was quite sure that Homi Jahangir Bhabha probably died peacefully of natural causes in his home, surrounded by family and friends, and probably a pet. But an Air India Boeing 707 took off from Delhi on 24th January 1966, carrying 117 passengers, among whom was Homi Jahangir Bhabha. The plane crashed in the French Alps following a malfunction of the VOR device that planes use to determine their position. The pilot, believing he was already past the Alps, lowered the plane's altitude, crashing into the mountain and killing everyone on board. This incident was a huge shock to a nation that was already grappling with the death of its Prime Minister, just 2 weeks earlier under suspicious circumstances. Still, it could just have been a tragic accident. Let's begin our investigation. After World War II, the Jewish people decided that they needed their own homeland to avoid the kind of persecution and death they suffered under the Nazi regime. And they picked Israel. I mean, I get the historical connection, but man, you should have scoped out the neighborhood better. Anyway, in the current times, Israel's arch-nemesis in the region is Iran, which has aggressively been pursuing a nuclear energy/weapons program, depending on who you believe. Israel, through its intelligence agency Mossad and its proxies, started taking out their nuclear scientists, 2 with magnetic bombs, 1 with a motorcycle bomb, and 1 with a good old-fashioned gun. Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Yaalon said, "We will act in any way and are not willing to tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran. We prefer that this be done by means of sanctions, but in the end, Israel should be able to defend itself." Was this the kind of thinking amongst the US intelligence agencies as well in the 60s? We must understand that this is in the context of the Cold War, where 2 superpowers were battling for supremacy, using entire countries as their pawns. India, though officially non-aligned, was close to Russia, which had helped it financially and militarily through this period, often at the expense of their relations with China. A nuclear-armed India acting as Russia's proxy in the region would have been a nightmare for the US. And think of it this way: if in modern times civilized nations can resort to killing another country's scientists, then is it that implausible that they could have done so in the 60s, when nuclear expertise was much harder to come by and people were that much easier to assassinate? Not to mention that Homi Jahangir Bhabha was an exceptional man. He won scholarships to prestigious institutes, worked alongside Nobel Prize winner and fundamental physics pioneer Niels Bohr, and had this phenomenon named after him. If you can figure this out, you're much smarter than I am. In an interview to All India Radio in October 1965, Homi Bhabha declared that if given the go-ahead, he could put a nuclear weapon together in 18 months. And you don't doubt a man like Bhabha. So I think we've established that if nothing else, the CIA had a strong motive to assassinate Homi Bhabha. It's right there in their charter: non-proliferation of nuclear and other weapons of mass destruction. Next, did they have a history of this kind of thing and the means to do it? That's an easy question to answer. Since its formation in 1947 under President Harry Truman, the CIA has been involved in a lot of unsavory activities. During the Church Committee Senate investigation in 1975, a lot of dirty laundry came pouring out into the open. Experiments with mind control, domestic spying, coups, and assassinations of foreign leaders. Here are just some of their greatest hits. Omar Torrijos, ruler of Panama, died in a plane crash because he refused to involve American firms in the deal to expand the Panama Canal. Abdul al-Karim Qasim, Prime Minister of Iraq, asked for a 20% share of ownership and 55% of profits from the Iranian Petroleum Company. Sounds reasonable, considering it was from that region. But he was overthrown by a CIA-backed coup and executed by a firing squad of the Ba'athist Party. A covert operation carried out by CIA deposed the democratically elected President Jacobo Arbenz in favor of Carlos Castillo Armas. For what? The United Fruit Company? Is that right? Then there's the weird circumstances around the death of Kennedy and the multiple attempts on Fidel Castro's life, and this list of attempts and assassinations. Some stories may be exaggerated, but there is no doubt that around the time of the Cold War, the CIA was afforded extraordinary powers and funding to carry out their plots. In the absence of further evidence, though, we are at a dead end. Everything so far is circumstantial. But here's where things get interesting. Journalist and author Gregory Douglas came to be friends with Robert Crowley, the assistant director of clandestine operations for the CIA. Douglas came to the director's attention with his book about Heinrich Müller, head of the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police. And the two men had 120 telephonic conversations between 1996 and 2000, where they discussed everything from their in-laws to how dead bodies decomposed in water. Gregory Douglas recorded these conversations and published them in a book called Conversations with the Crow, once his friend Crowley passed away from Alzheimer's in 2000. In the 22nd conversation on Friday afternoon on the 5th of July 1996, oh yes, and their head expert was fully capable of building a bomb, and we knew just what he was up to. He was warned several times, but what an arrogant prick that one was. Told our people to f*** off and then made it clear that no one would stop him and India from getting nuclear parity with the big boys. Loud mouths bring it all down on themselves. Do you know about any of this? Not my area of interest or expertise. Who's this joker anyway? Was Gregory. Let's use the past tense if you please. Name was Homi Bhabha. That one was dangerous, believe me. He was flying to Vienna to stir up more trouble when his 707 had a bomb go off in the cargo hold. And they all came down on a high mountain way up in the Alps. No real evidence, and the world was much safer. Was Ali Baba alone on the plane? No, it was a commercial Air India flight. How many people went down with him? Who knows? And frankly, who cares? I suppose if I had a relative on the flight, I would care. Did you? No? I did wonder. Apparently, an Air India flight had already crashed over the Alps in the 1950s. Surely the pilot of the Boeing in the 1960s would have been aware of it. There weren't all that many flights back then. He probably would have been extra careful around the Alps, just to be safe. But we'll discuss that and much more in part 2, where we'll also investigate the credibility of Gregory Douglas. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe, and start a conversation below to get more videos like this in your recommendations. I'll see you really soon. Bye.